Hello, my name is Tanisha Porter with the Department of Community Programs here at the City of Little Rock, talking with Ms. Dana Doucette, the Director of Community Programs. Hello, and how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
That's wonderful to hear. So, being the Director of Community Programs, what are community programs, or what is that?
I get asked that question a lot, so thanks for asking. um, so that's actually what we do, our community programs for the city of Little Rock. So people wonder what that looks like, and the main thing that we do is try to improve the quality of life for our residents, whatever that looks like.
Okay, so there's a program. What is that? Creating a program, what does that look like?
Okay, thanks. So we actually work with different vendors, different suppliers. So we work with people in the community who say, either I have an idea that I'd like to pitch to the city that I think will be great for residents to participate in, or we have an actual bid. For example, we do after school programs for youth. And so if we have an actual bid that goes out, then there are vendors who apply for those bids.
Okay, so I have a program. So now where do I start that I have this program?
Perfect idea. So what you do first is develop your idea.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have throughout the year different pre-bid seminars. And what those pre-bid seminars do is help people who, like yourself, have an idea and want to develop it into an actual program. And so we have the pre-bid seminar, which will go from A to Z to help anyone who has an idea formulate the idea. Then they're going to get involved with the city and become a supplier and a vendor, and then they can actively apply for a bid that we might have available.
Okay, so you're going to take me from step one all the way to the end. But what if my program is a little bit outside of the box because, I want to do something that someone has never done? Is it too far outside of the box, or do I have to stay within a parameter when I'm propositioning for a bid?
Good question. So there are two things that I like to say. There's an out-of-the-box ideas you mentioned. We like those because we can't come up with all of the answers, and we are looking for people who have just an idea of something that they've always wanted to try but weren't quite sure if it was good enough. We actually have bids that are called community innovation projects. And that's what we want, is people to come up with an idea and see if it'll work for our residents. But we also have another way, which is called our bids that we are putting out that are specified bids. As I mentioned before, for example, we have after-school programs. Well, there are certain things that you have to meet in order to create an after-school program because we know what after-school programs look like. So then we may say, this is what we want, and can you do that? So as I mentioned, we have two different types. The kinds that are defined, where we are defining it and we're telling you what we're looking for and you would bid for that. And then we have some that are just innovation type projects where you tell us what you're going to do. Now, there's another process, and that process is our review committee. So if you're either way that you go through a bid, we are looking for, does it make sense, first of all? Have you been able to really describe what you're going to do, how you're going to do it? Do you have experience doing what you're saying that you're going to do? And we have people that look at that process, look at what you're proposing, whether or not you can meet it, and then we make a decision from there.
Okay, so there is a space for my idea, whatever it is, there is a space for it. So working with the city, do I have to be a nonprofit, or what is it, free for all, or how does that work?
That's a good question too. So no, you do not have to be a nonprofit organization. You don't have to be. I will say that in the past we did only work with nonprofits, but now that we've opened it up to just ideas, like you mentioned, we do innovative projects, then you don't have to be you don't have to be a nonprofit. You can be a for-profit business, because we did find out that there are other ideas out there that we'd like to investigate if they'll work. Now, I will say you do have to have a business, though. So if you're just an individual and you have an idea, then you need to partner with an established business. That business does have to be located in Little Rock. We require that because we're using Little Rock taxpayer dollars. And you have to be registered with the City of Little Rock. So you need to have a City of Little Rock business license, or if you're a nonprofit, you do have to be in Little Rock and your services have to be provided free of charge. The reason that they're free of charge to the people that would be using them is because we're paying for them. We're the one that are paying for them, so they are offered free to the residents. And those are the basic requirements. Oh, and then you also need to be an actual vendor with the City of Little Rock. There is a process to go through that with our procurement office. It's just as simple as calling the City of Little Rock's procurement office, getting registered as a supplier and a vendor, and then you're ready to do business with the City of Little Rock.
So you mentioned being an established organization or established business or even partnering with someone. So is there a time frame that you would have to have been in business, or what does that look like?
Well, generally we ask that the leadership of the organization at the very least have 2 years worth of experience. When you're asking for opportunities for our residents, then we want to know that you have the capability of actually doing what you're saying you can do. So it's about 2 years is what we're looking for. Either the organization is at least 2 years old, or the leadership that is working with that organization has at least 2 years of verifiable experience.
Okay, so I want to get a head start. I know I'm going to have a great idea, and I want to apply for this bid. So before I get to the pre-bid seminar or get more information, is there somewhere I can get a checklist so I can kind of be ahead of the game to kind of get things rolling?
There's 2 places to get a checklist. One is from our department, so you would just call the Community Programs Department, or we actually have an email address. Or as I mentioned, you can contact us at 501-399-3420. But that would be the first ways to contact our department. We can give you a list of some of the things that are going to be required. Let me tell you a few of the things that are going to be required, especially if you're going to work with youth. So if you're going to work with youth ages 18 and under, then you're going to want to also have a DHS license with the Department of Human Services. You have to get approval from them, obviously, to be able to work with younger people. If you have an actual building where you'll be offering your services from, and most places are going to do them at a building, then that building needs to be fire inspected. It needs to make sure that you have your lease in place, because we'll be asking for a copy of the lease just to make sure that you really can offer your services from there. We'll need the backgrounds of the staff that's going to work with the people. We need to know that they have the qualifications to be able to do those types of things. We're going to make sure that if you're working with people who are 18 and under, that your people have background checks, for example, because we need to know what type of background they have, for example, when you're working with youth. So short answer, yes. Oh, another thing that's going to be important is to have a copy of your business license or your 501c3 information from the IRS. So yes, because we're the City of Little Rock, because we're offering services to our residents, there is a checklist of things that you need to have. And then in addition to that, one of the most important things that I tell our businesses not to wait on is to go ahead and get registered with our procurement office. Like I mentioned before, that you need to have your vendor license with us or your supplier license with us. Do that in advance, because I can't tell you how many times people have wanted to respond to a bid and they didn't have that part done. So they tried to get it done real quickly before the bid was due, weren't able to do it, and then now as a result they weren't able to finalize the bid, and they did all that work and then weren't able to actually get the bid through.
Okay, you've given us a wealth of information on how to apply for bids. Where can I get a list or find a list of bids available, or when will they become available so that the residents and program organizations can apply?
Well, the main way, again, is once you become a vendor or a supplier, they actually will send you when the bids come out. Now, we have bids available all throughout the year. In fact, all of our departments do. So that's another thing, that even if they're not wanting to apply for bids with our department, we have a ton of services that are needed by the City of Little Rock and the various departments. And the best place to find all of our bids that are available is you go to our website. You're going to look for the procurement department, which is under finance. But the easy way to get to it is by going to www, of course, littlerock.gov/ online bids with an S. So it's littlerock.gov/online bids, and that will take you directly to the page where you can find everything that you need to know about our procurement office and how to apply for a bid with the City of Little Rock.
Okay. Well, we thank you for that information. Is there any other cheat code you want to give the people to that are interested in applying for bids with the community programs?
Well, the main thing that I'd like to say is that if you have an idea to work with the residents in the City of Little Rock, then we invite you to become involved in this process. As I mentioned, the places to go first is with the procurement department, so you can register as a vendor and as a supplier. That's littlerock.gov/online bids. But if you really want to work with the residents directly in the City of Little Rock, then contact the Office of Department of Community Programs. We are located here at City Hall, but you can also reach us via our email address, which is dcpinfo@littlerock.gov, or you can give us a call at 501-399-3420, and we definitely look forward to doing business with you.
To learn more about how to work with the City of Little Rock's Department of Community Programs, register to attend our pre-bid seminar on Thursday, January 26th at 10 a.m. For more information, contact the Department of Community Programs at dcpinfo@littlerock.gov or call 501-399-3420. Also, be sure to like us and follow us on social media. City of Little Rock Department of Community Programs on Facebook and LR Community Programs on Instagram.